your I'll try to get it loaded into the lesson, so if you want to go back and watch, you can. MC, is that Matei? Matei, did you just come in, honey?
Yes, it's Matei's mom. We are having trouble logging in with the iPad.
Well, I'm glad you got in. There were some issues I had yesterday too. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't some stranger. So
Yeah, it's him. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm so glad to see all of you this morning, and I want to tell you that what I'm doing with you today, you can choose to do it or not do it. I realize that it is asking a lot of your families because you have to have some things. But if you're not able to do the experiment at home, at least you can be kind of thinking about it, okay? And second thing is, this could be messy. So before you do anything, ask your moms and dads if there's a place that they'd like you to be. Maybe they'll want to put down towels. Maybe you do it in the bathtub, because it could get messy as you explore. You want to make sure that you're not getting this all over your clothing and that you're very, very careful. So I know lots of you came today with the supplies, and that's awesome, but you don't have to do it while I do it. You can just listen, okay? Awesome. So when we studied weather, we talked about the water cycle, and we know that the only water we have is the same water that was here when the dinosaurs were here. We use our water over and over. It goes through that water cycle. And so taking care of the water is really important. Humans live on this planet, and we do lots of things for fun and for work. And sometimes the things that we do can have an impact on the environment. Some of the things that we do can be a little harmful, and other things that we do can be helpful. Tomorrow is Earth Day, and so this is a time when everybody's kind of thinking about all the things that we do and how we can make good changes. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to tell you a little story. And this bowl of water here, I'm going to move over here so you can see it a little better. All right, this is a lake. So once upon a time, there was this beautiful lake, and it was surrounded by trees, and squirrels lived in those trees, and birds, and turtles, and fish, and frogs loved the lake. It was their home. People found the lake, and they were like, wow, this is gorgeous. And they started coming, and they would have picnics. And they'd bring out their picnic baskets, and they would have paper plates and napkins and plastic spoons, and they would enjoy the beautiful lake. But sometimes things would get left behind, like a little plastic, maybe a paper napkin, and because it would get left behind, it might get broken up, and then it might blow into the lake. So now my lake has a little bit of napkin and some fork tines. Nobody meant for it to happen, it just did. And the lake was still beautiful, it just had a few things in it. Well, once they started coming for the picnics, they were like, wow, this is a great place. You know, we could take our boat out on there. And, you know, boating's a very fun activity. You can get a rowboat, but some boats have motors. And when they have a motor, they need oil to run. And so sometimes a boat might have a little leak, and some of the oil would go into the lake. At first, it was just a few people, and then more and more people learned about that lake, and they got excited and it started coming. So more and more oil would come over time. You know, eventually people are like, this is such a beautiful spot. I think I'd like to live here. And so they decided to build houses, but they needed to have lumber. So they started to cut down a bunch of the trees, and they were making the trees into boards for their homes. Well, the trees have roots that were going way down into the soil, and it was holding the soil in place. So once those trees started to be taken out, there weren't any roots that were working to hold the soil in place. So sometimes on a big heavy rain, some of that soil would wash into the lake. And it would get stirred up in the lake. And as the people were building their houses, you know, every time you're working with wood, you're going to have something like sawdust, right? So the sawdust that they were making is very light, and it would blow with the wind, and some of it would go into the lake. So now people are living next to this lake, and there are just more and more houses being built because, my goodness, it's a beautiful countryside and it's got this gorgeous lake. And now there are all these people that live there. So, you know, a factory is like, wow, I could go and build my factory in this neighborhood where all these new people have moved, and my factory would have people that could work in it. We would have all kinds of people who needed a job. But the factory by the lake, it's making its products, the things that it's going to sell, and while it's making those things, it produces some chemicals. Well, those chemicals have to have a place to go, so the factory has to build something to take the chemicals away, and unfortunately, some of those chemicals, that's the Kool-Aid, by the way, leaked into the lake. So now we still have a lake, and we have lots of people, and we have a factory, and it's a beautiful community, but the effects of all of those things have caused our lake to not be as pretty. Let me try to show you my lake. So my lake has some oil, you can see floating on top. It has some plastic debris and paper products. It has some soil from the erosion. It has that sawdust floating around. It's just not as nice. And unfortunately, the fish and the birds and the squirrels that would come and drink from that and live in that are having a little bit of a rough time. So here's what you're going to do today. You guys have to be problem solvers. You have to kind of try to help the lake. One thing about humans is that our brains are miraculous, and we can come up with solutions to problems if we try hard enough. And so I'm going to be working to see if I can clean the lake. So I got another little area here to practice with. And I brought a few different items. And I have a funnel and a cup. And I'm going to test these different items. I want to try to build a filter. Aquariums for fish have filters, and the filter cleans the aquarium water. So what your job today is to try different ways to see how clean you can get the water. Are some things easier to remove than other things? Probably they will be. Can you try different types of materials? Yes. Can you try different combinations? Maybe you could put 2 or 3 things in. Yes. So I'm going to put my funnel here, and I'm just going to start trying things out. I think I'll try my rocks. I'm going to put some rocks in here, and I'm going to look to see. Now, I don't want to dump this whole thing into here. I'm going to just dump a part of it. So I'm going to get a little cup of it, and I'm going to make sure I don't make a big mess, and I'm going to dump it through the rocks. And I'm going to see what the rocks do for the lake. And my cup's pretty dirty. Oh, wow, look. The rocks did take out some of it, didn't it? Is this water as bad? It's a little bit cleaner. I see a little bit of the fork stayed in there. I see that there's some soil in there. I bet some of the oil and chemicals might have even stuck to the rocks. Interesting. All right, I'm going to put those rocks somewhere else. Let's try something different this time. I'm going to put this back in the lake. Might even rinse this out. Just to make sure you know exactly what your filter process is doing. You can rinse these two things. I'm going to do that real fast because I want a real good look. So give me a second.
Teacher is gone. Party time.
So I want to know exactly how well my experiment is working. So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to try, I have this felt. I'm going to try the felt now. I'm going to line this with my felt, and I'm going to see if it helps. So I'm going to get a cup of the lake water, and I'm going to see what happens. Oh, wow, the felt took out a lot of stuff. That's pretty good. I noticed the chemicals are still pretty strong in there, but a lot of the soil, I still see some oil floating in there, but a lot of the soil and the cornstarch and things are gone, huh? And the plastic from the napkins, huh? I like this. I'm going to leave this in my filter. I'm going to try it with some of these cotton balls. I wonder if this will help. Now remember, when you do this today, ask your family to help you find someplace that's not so dirty. So I'm going to drop this back in the lake. I've got all these cotton balls in here now. I wonder even if I could try rocks, cotton balls, and the felt. Felt works really well. I wonder if I added other things, if it will help. I'm going to try this. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think that's going to work pretty well? Maybe. Let's see what happens. See what we can get out with these. I'm going to pour it right down the middle so it goes through all the things. Ooh, the cotton balls seem to be taking some of the chemicals out. Oh, wow. Do you see how the cotton ball has the pink? That's some of the chemicals. It's looking better, isn't it? I can still see a little bit of oil droppings in it, and I can still see a lot of chemicals in it, but could I try something else? Sure. Could I add more things, more layers to my filter? Yeah, you might try one thing at a time, see what works. You might try to see how many times, maybe, oh, I just thought of something. Okay, so here's another thing. I'm going to get a cup real quick. I remember doing this with some kids one time, and the kids that I did it with, you know what they did? This is such a cool idea, but I'm going to need a cup. So the kids I did it with the first time, they made their filters, and they would put the water through them more than once. So like they would try one, they would go one time through the filter, and then they would try another time to see if it would clean more. And they would just kind of keep trying to see if they passed it through the filter more than once, if it would make it cleaner, to see if they could get all the oil and all the dirt and all the chemicals out. I still see a lot of chemicals, but you know what? I'm seeing less oil. The filter does seem to be taking the oil out. Interesting. Now, I have a question for you guys. This is just what I brought for filter materials. Do you guys have any other ideas for things you might use in a filter? What else might you use to clean the water? Anybody have any other thoughts, like of things that you might have around your house? I know coffee filters, those are filters. Luke, what other things might you use to try?
Yarn.
Yarn. Maybe you could put a little bit of yarn in there. Okay. Give that a shot. Zoa, what else could you use?
Last night it was snowing, so maybe snow.
Snow.
Maybe
Snow. You guys have great ideas. Clara, what else could you use? What else could you try?
Well, wait, was the filter thing it wasn't the thing that I was but was the filter thing like the thing where you were pouring the things in or whatever?
Well, I'm making my filter. I made my filter inside of a funnel, so I could have some pour it in.
Do I need this kind of filter?
Well, you can try that kind of filter. That's just an idea. That's a coffee filter. You could use it as part of your filter creation.
Where should I put it when I'm doing it though?
Oh, honey, that is up to you. You are the builder of the water filter. When you take this your funnel and you put things inside of it, you are creating your very own filter. So what you're doing is your idea. Those are just things you can try. So you can do it however you feel it would work best. That's
So also doing like need to make the like red thingy whatever you made.
Do you need to make dirty water? Dirty lake?
You need the red thingy to do it?
Well, what you'll need to do is you'll have to create your own dirty lake, and then you'll have to have another bowl to try to clean it out. Okay? So you can try different filters to clean it out.
There's one thing that I know. I'm not going to use this because it's my trash bucket.
Okay. So you can try a different bowl or bucket.
Yeah.
Artur, did you have an idea for something we could try for filtering?
Well, you could put like some of your little.
Oh, is that gauze like from a first aid kit, or what is that? Or did it come out of a box?
It's
Like
a cotton square, right, Artur? Can you explain? It's
Cotton
like a cotton
square.
ball, except it's shaped like a square.
Oh, cool.
And so we could put like a rectangle one if you have a green one. I have a green one, and you could put it on the bottom, and then you could put the other ones that are square on the top, and then it would like if it goes through there, it wouldn't come out the other side.
So you're coming up with a totally new way of creating it, a new construction idea. I like that.
And you could also brush some stuff off with a toothbrush when it gets onto some stuff.
That's true. That would be how you could clean those rocks. Great idea. Marcus, what are you thinking about?
Oh, I'm thinking about using Easter eggs. If you put an Easter egg bottom and top, like all like this, remember Easter eggs have little holes? So then if you pour that dirty water in these, it'll take out most of it. More like only a liquid will go through.
So it'll probably hold the particles that are bigger, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Because
idea.
the hole is very small.
Yeah, I love that. Clara, what are you thinking? Oh, I probably should have called on somebody different. Go ahead.
Well, I have something and another thing. I have something and another thing. The other thing was
Cotton squares inside the funnel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cotton squares. I forget what the other thing was, but what I think it could use is leaves.
Interesting. So you're talking about using items from nature. I like that idea. That's very green. Yeah, good idea. Zoa, what are you thinking about?
You don't. I was thinking that you could just pour water into that dirty lake, and you can try to get the trash out.
If you pour water into the lake, does the trash go away?
No, that liquid stuff, and I can try to get that trash out by using some stuff.
Okay, so some kind of a way to filter it out, right? Interesting. Karen, what are you thinking might work?
I wanted to show what I wanted to show my dirty lake.
Okay, let's see your dirty lake. Ah, I see that. Great. All right, can I tell you guys something real quick before I call on my next hand? I want you guys listening ears. What you are going to discover is that some things are harder to remove than others, okay? Pay attention to which things you can remove easily and which things are harder. At 1 o'clock when we meet today, I might ask you guys to tell me what you've discovered if you had a chance to do it. You may not have all done this, and that's okay. All right, Owen, what are your ideas about this? Oh, before you leave, have a great day problem solving and, do good work, scientists. And Owen, what did you want to say?
I was going to say that you could pour out the dirty lake and put new water in it.
Okay, now when you pour out the dirty lake, where would it go?
Maybe to a place that's supposed to be dirty, like a recycling place.
You're talking about like a water treatment center?
Yeah.
That is a possibility. Now the water treatment center is going to need a way to clean all this stuff out of it. So I want you to be thinking about it, okay?
Okay, I can't actually do this because I don't have all the ingredients.
And that's okay if you can't do it. I will say though, this is actually a great thing to think about because one day, one of you guys might actually be the scientist that discovers the best way to take care of problems like this. There are a lot of people in this world whose job it is to basically come up with solutions for problems like this. And this is a problem, not just for the animals, but also for the humans. And so it's great to put your mind to work thinking of ways that you can solve problems. And I particularly like this problem as something we think about because I love my planet and I think it's a beautiful place and I want it to remain a beautiful place. And so by doing this, you can be doing so many things to help not just people, but all the little creatures that live there. Okay? Yeah. So all your thinking and problem solving is such a wonderful thing. Clara, what did you want to say?
Do we have to make all the bad water thingy part go away?
You know what? I think you'll find that it's very hard to get rid of everything, but if you keep experimenting and trying, maybe you will be the person who figures out the best way to get rid of everything. I know that it's going to be very hard to get rid of the chemicals. The chemicals, they are the hardest part to get rid of.
Oh yeah, also.
So if anybody's able to get rid of all those chemicals, I'll be super impressed.
Also, can you put the recording
I'll put the recording on the video up. Yes, I'm sorry. I sometimes can't get that, but I will.
Put it, because sometimes it's like where I don't see it, and this one I really need it to be. And sometimes it's like where I have to like, mommy enters a password, mommy's not here. So, and sometimes it's like when I see it, sometimes it's like where I can see the like just the video, and I want it where there's just the video and you don't have to like enter the passcode thing.
Yeah, it's always in our chat. You can always find the videos in the chat section. I try to upload them to YouTube and post them inside of the assignments, but I'll be honest with you, it is very hard to find the time with reading groups. So I will try to do that as soon as we log off of here. As long as we don't go too late, I'll be able to do that, no problem.
Wait, is my reading group today?
I don't remember what color you are, so I don't think
I'm green.
Yeah, no, tomorrow. All right, Zoa.
Something else when you could go to a wheel lake and try to get trash out of it.
Be hard, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you have to come up with a really good idea, and maybe a machine that you could make would be very helpful. Well, who knows? Maybe, and I like to think this, maybe one day one of my kids who did this assignment with me will be a person who gets interviewed and makes the news for being someone who came up with a great solution to a big problem. And that would make me super proud. So I love for you guys to go ahead and get started right away. Okay. And I am going to add a flip grid to this in case somebody has a really good idea. You can share it. Okay. Now, it will take me a few minutes for this video to download, and then I will load it into the lesson, but it doesn't just automatically appear when we log off, so it's not going to happen for like maybe another 15 minutes, okay? Sound good? All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and get off of here and get started, and I'll see you later. Bye. Good luck.
Miss Trace,
Yes?
I'm not gonna be